Like you guys, I'm really confused. I feel like I am in the twilight zone. Okay, now first and foremost, I want to say I'm happy for Becky Lynch for winning the NXT Women's Championship belt because she never won it before. But outside of that, why is this even happening? I don't understand what is happening here, and it just does not make any sense. The only thing I can think of is that WWE is like, hey, we need Tiffany Stratton to go up to the main roster, but those ladies at NXT, we don't really trust them to carry the torch. Like they're not that great, so we're going to give it to a person who's established and trustworthy to be a champion to carry the belt. But also, I'm thinking like, okay, well, maybe because of the Endeavor deal, maybe they're like, oh, we need more eyeballs on NXT, and it could be a combination of both those things. So on the business side, I guess that makes sense, but outside of that, why? It just doesn't make it. Like for me, when we saw the draft, I felt like that NXT got gutted a little, but now here we go again with them gutting NXT again for a second helping. And the reason why I say that is because if you think about it, at this point, NXT only has 2 championship belts actually held by someone in NXT. Right? You have what the men's championship belt and the men's tag team championship belt. You had the women's tag team championship belts for NXT, and it supposedly got unified with the women's championship belts on the main roster. You got the North American championship belt being held by Dominic Mysterio, and now you got the women's NXT championship belt being held by Becky Lynch. And by getting gutted, it's like somebody who just broke into your house and stole all your fancy jewelry. Then all of a sudden, a week later, he comes back and says, hey, I saw a PS5 in here and a Mercedes-Benz key. I come to get those things too. I'm here to make your life worse. And I feel like that's what they're doing with NXT, because what do the ladies have to wrestle for now in NXT? A number one contendership, maybe the tag team championship belts, but outside of that, what else do they have to wrestle for? They have no championship belts on their brand being held by someone on their brand. And people try to convince me, oh, well, NXT is on the same level as SmackDown or Raw. It's the third brand. And I agree that it is the third brand, but there's nothing here to support the idea that is anywhere near on the same level. For obvious reason, obviously, there isn't as much money going into NXT, the crowd, things like that, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, for the most part, you see people from the main roster come down to NXT, win their belts, and still be a part of the main roster. You don't typically see it the other way around. You don't see people from NXT go to the main roster for the most part, win their championship belt, and still be a part of NXT. So it doesn't feel like they're on the same level. It's like you go into I don't know, like a baking competition. You look up, and then Gordon Ramsay is one of your competitors, right? You're in a running to get a Heisman championship, Heisman trophy. You look up, for some reason, Tyreek Hill, while he's on the Miami Dolphins, he listed on there. You're in a talent show competition, and for some reason, Beyonce and Chris Brown is one of your competitors at your high school, and you're like, they don't even go here. Why are they even here? And I'm sure that people in NXT, whenever they see somebody from the main roster come down, they're like, yo, this title run is over, bro. It's over. So I'm trying to figure out, what is the purpose of this? If Tiffany Stratton needs to get called up to the main roster, why couldn't they just give it more time, or even have her win that match against Becky Lynch to kind of just give her, a nice rub, and then she can carry that on to another feud and kind of build people up? Or we could have just had them finish the match in disqualification or count out, have them have a great match and just have it end that way, or maybe someone could have interfered. I think those would have been better choices than what we had here, but we got what we got. Let's continue. But then you have to think about this too. Who is prepared to NXT to take that championship belt off of Becky Lynch? Thea's not ready. She's great. She's great. She had a great match against Tiffany Stratton, but she needs more time to develop. And the only way anyone can take that belt off of Becky Lynch, they're not going to take it off of her fair and square. Becky Lynch has to do like an injury angle, or the person that has to face her has to be a heel who's a part of a group and then take it from her. And people will think, well, Ava Raine can do that with the help of Schism. That's a possibility. I mean, I guess that's the best route to go, but I don't know if I believe in Ava yet as a champion. I don't think she's ready for that yet. So the only other option is to call somebody from the main roster and bring them down, but then you got another person from the main roster winning that championship belt. So I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know where this is going to go. I know this sounds like a complaint. I'm just confused. I'm not complaining. I'm not upset. I'm just confused about this whole thing. But, I'm happy for Becky Lynch, but I'm trying to figure out where we're going with this. Like, what do the ladies have to fight for on the NXT? Again, this is another reason why I've always advocated for a mid-card title on the main roster, and I will continue to say this over and over and over until it happens. And if we had a mid-card title, it'll alleviate for the women, it'll alleviate a whole lot of these problems that we're having, especially when it comes to developing. That's the problem that we're facing in NXT. None of these ladies are developed yet in order to face Becky Lynch to win that championship belt, or Tiffany Stratton and take the strap off for her as well. I don't know if they're gonna have a feud between her and Becky where they go back and forth. Who knows? But the same problem they have on Raw on the main roster with the ladies, they're doing a little bit better now. They're getting better at that, but it's just, I don't know what's happening, man. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Again, it's not a complaint, it's not a rant. I'm just trying to figure out what is going on here. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Salute, peace, have a good day.